Hello and welcome to another Sightseeing episode of EVE Online. Today I've decided I would take a trip down to the system New Eden, which is where the Eve Gate, or the wormhole from Earth, originally came through to what is now known as New Eden as a whole, being the entirety of the EVE Online universe. And just for a little bit of background, originally what happened is on Earth, it had become outgrown, basically. You know, not enough resources and so on. So they went into space to colonize other places, and soon found that even that would not be enough to sustain them. So they ended up finding a wormhole that led to here. And they began colonizing all the places around here. And so the gateway, or the wormhole, had collapsed, and in the process severed the colony worlds from the home worlds. Now you can imagine how this might cause some problems, in that now they had no way of getting resources from the home worlds to the colony worlds, and vice versa. This then led to the collapse of certain colonies. In fact, most colonies did end up collapsing, and then eventually they managed to kind of come back from the darkness and managed to rebuild the society that they had, you know, many, many years after the original settlements happened. So it's very, very long time afterwards that they finally managed to rebuild society. Now, originally I would have thought that the remnants of the Eve Gate would have been somewhere in nullsec, but come to find out it's actually only lowsec. So, you know, we've just got a few jumps to go through, and then we will be in that system. We'll be able to take a look at what is now the remnants of the old Eve Gate. I decided I would take my stealth bomber because, for one thing, it's a covert ops capable ship. Second, because it doesn't really get much use anymore. It kind of just sits around in my hangar, so I thought, hey, I might as well take it out down here in case somebody wants to get in a fight. I've still got a little bit of kick behind me, whereas if I take a regular cov-op ship, like for instance the Buzzard, it doesn't really have a whole lot of damage potential, whereas the stealth bomber obviously would have a lot more potential to deal some damage to a potential attacker. It looks like there might be somebody kind of following me. The past few jumps I've been observing. So we're just gonna kind of warp over here and scan around and see if we can see if he's actually trying to follow me and attack me, or if it's just this guy happens to be going the same place, or, you know, the same direction, and then maybe turn off somewhere at another jump gate. So we're just gonna wait a minute and see what happens. A little bit of paranoia going on, but that's fine, I guess. Let's see, the left system, so I guess let's see, we'll wait a couple more minutes or so. So we'll pick up the map and we'll look to see what other systems, what other jumps they could make. Sort of off of from where we are. Where could they turn off? Let's see, so there are a few places they could kind of turn off and go to other areas. So it's possible that they're just headed out to a low-sec pocket over there. See, the ship destroyed. See, there's not a whole lot of activity out here in terms of ships being blown up, but elsewhere, obviously you can see by the bigger splotches. It's mainly in trade hub systems or choke point systems that there's usually a lot of activity in terms of ships being blown up by criminals, or even sometimes legal targets, for instance faction warfare and various other things. If you're suspect flagged or criminal flagged, then people can shoot at you freely. So a lot of that happens more towards civilization systems, more high population areas. So now I think the coast is clear, so we're gonna just continue on warping here to our next system in the destination list. There's a certain safety in being in a system by yourself, but it still feels very eerie, especially if you're used to areas where there are more people. It just seems very strange. Let's see, we've got a few people in this system. So we're gonna warp over here at 100. Cloak up. Just to make sure that these guys aren't camping the next gate on the pathway, because that could pose some problems for me. But, you know, on second thought, I think maybe we can probably just bum rush it and probably make it, so. And since it's only low sec, we don't have to worry about warp disruption bubbles. That's why I didn't take the interceptor. So even if they were camping the gate, we could pretty much just warp to 0 and jump immediately. Well, almost immediately anyway. Again, we're just going to have a safe warp rather than a hasty warp. So we're going to go over here, Celestial at 100. See if we can get a directional scan over there and see what we've got. Well, it doesn't look like there's anybody at the gate, so we should be pretty safe to go over there. Come on. There we go. Sometimes it feels like the jump gates are slower than usual. Sure are a lot of sites out here. Just gonna have a look at those. Gonna have a safe warp and then start using D-scan. See what turns up. There's a Gnosis on scan, I think. Yeah, see, it wasn't on scan before, but we were still in range, so that means they must have warped somewhere over here as well. So see if we can just give him a minute to kind of clear off, because he's probably using D-scan as well. At least it should be. Low sec, somebody else in his system. Let's try to zero in, see if he's sitting on that gate or if he's just somewhere else. Looks like he's pretty much just somewhere else. So we're just going to go ahead, warp through the gate. We'll just do a safe warp real quick. Have a look. Looks like it should be pretty safe to go over there. So now we're in Promised Land, which is now only one jump over from the system New Eden. Since there's nobody in system, we'll just warp straight to the gate. It's fine. Well, nobody except the NPC pirates. I'm sure there's plenty of them. So now we're in the star system New Eden, and right over there, you can see that's where the remnants of the Eve Gate are. You can see there's a few anchored canisters out here of people that have visited. I suppose it's quite a tourist hotspot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and warp to the star at 100. I figure it's probably safer than sitting right at the gate. Now, unfortunately, the remnants of this wormhole is just a background sort of image. It's not something you can warp to, in my understanding. Which it would be kind of cool if you could, but you know, maybe I'm just expecting a little too much. Although this time, on my sightseeing trip, I did bring a secure container with me that I can anchor rather than just a regular jet cam like I did in BR. So we'll go ahead and name it. Let's see. Here, we'll set a password for it. I'll key in the password. I'll accept it, and then okay, I can't click because I'm too close to it. So we'll move off some. Then I can cloak. So now we're going to look at the canister and put the Eve gate behind it, and then I want to anchor the container so that it doesn't expire in 2 hours. It'll stay here for a while. Turn off the UI and admire the view. Alright, so now turn the UI back on. It looks like a few people have showed up in system, so we're just going to start moving off from this canister just in case. Don't want to end up being too close, since that's pretty much right where the warp end point is. See, they are within D-scan range. And Stiletto, that's an interceptor, and a Galente shuttle is also with him apparently. And oh, looks like here they are. So I think that is probably a good indication for me to make my exit.
Warp drive active.
So we'll just look back over the Eve gate. We'll look back to where we're going, and that'll be it. That was the sightseeing trip. We've left our sort of can to commemorate the event. And now I just have to make the return trip to where I was previously. So just going to look at the map again and see sort of the system name is right around here. So you can see there's New Eden, Promised Land, and Central Point. You can see there's a couple different jumps off of Central Point. There's Gateway, Exit, and then there's the path back to where we took originally. Access. That one didn't want to seem to tell me the name. And so that's the high-sec system I was in, just sort of staged for this event. And then we'll just set a destination back to there and be on my way. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Catch you next time.
Take control of the destiny that is rightfully yours.